Hey, good day. This is Turbo Dave here, Performance Corner. Talking to you today about 370Zs, G37s, VQ37 intakes, whatever has a VQ37. Still seems to be a very prevalent question about what intakes to run, most of them being long tube. So, or what makes power rather, not just necessarily long tube, but that's what does make power. So we're going to talk about that. So if you're thinking about putting intakes on your VQ37 base chassis, I would say, and you want to make power or you just want bling, it depends. But if you want to make power, we go with the long tube intakes. Any of the short tube and short ram intakes that stay under the hood, the air filters, anything the air filters are under the hood, they're not really gonna make any power. You might as well drop in a panel like a K&N panel air filter inside your box. You probably have a similar gains, if not the same. But on long tube intakes, I think Stillen's knocked it out of the park in the sense that it's bolt in. You know, you have to cut the holes in the front where the factory air boxes have their cold air little tubes going through. You have to open those up to put the front tubes in. But it's a bolt-in drivability. There's no drivability issues. You drop it in and you make power. You know, the ECU goes through a little bit of recalibration and you got instant power. No drivability issues, no recalibration of the car. You know, it's great. You know, and you have about 18 horsepower. Depends on the car. But you got, you know, a fair amount of horsepower. That's about the max that you'll get is 18 from the bolt-in. I believe that's what it says. And that's what I've seen on the dynos with it. There's many companies that make long tube. When they first came out, a large tuning company had written a big article and said, hey, don't put intakes on your 370Zs. It's a waste of money. You're not going to make any power. That was true at the time. Stillen stepped up to the plate and they made their long tube Gen 3s. The Gen 3s, like I said, made 18 horsepower thereabouts, and there was a skeptical person out there, and so they had this big live feed. Stillen had sent them some intakes to do it. They did the before and after dyno. They did the install, you know, live in front of a bunch of other people, and it made the power. And so they kind of became the benchmark of intakes for 370Zs, G37s, for anything with the VQ37 based engine. Everybody started copying them after that, you know, and it's not that they made their own. They either copied the diameter and the bends and everything, you know, to make their own, put their name on it and stuff, or they try to outdo them by making a larger diameter, longer tubes, you know, move the mass airflow sensors forward. So a lot of the ones that you see with larger tubes or longer intakes, you'll see that they have a signal modifier box. I had a customer that had a drivability issue. He brought it in. It was a SEMA build. He had a lot of parts on the car, engine, everything. I mean, from looks to performance, suspension, everything that he had gotten because he had built the car so early when it first came out and it was going to SEMA. So I took it in and we take a look at it, you know, data logging, seeing what the engine's doing, looking at all the sensors. Notice the mass airflow sensor was kind of weird. It get weird signals. So after diagnosing it, I told him, hey, let's put a set of Gen 3s on, some Stillen Gen 3s on it, and, you know, test it from there. I was 99%, you know, knowing that that's what was going to be the issue. 1% of skepticism, you know, just because you never know. But we swapped it out and it worked. And that was the great part about it, is it worked, and it proved that, you know, that was it seriously bolted on because they already had an intake on it that was super long. Put it on there, worked out great, and never had a problem. You know, a lot of the other intakes, they're larger diameter or longer or whatever. Some of them, they need a recal to make power and stuff like that. So these just bolt in, make power. And the thing with these is that they make power throughout the power band. You bolt them on, you know, you have obviously your peak power, which is 18 horsepower, whatever it is on your chassis, your car. but your gains are throughout the power band, you know, starting early. You never have a dip where it goes below the factory and then comes back up for this super spike. And, you know, in any kind of build, doesn't matter what it is, you know, there's always that possibility of having that. And these do a great job of building horsepower throughout the power band, and, you know, and through your peak power band, and then tapering off. So you have everything you need in that. Others need a recalibration to do that, you know, and so when you do that, when you have to do a recalibration, and for these, they're carb exempt. So you have the California Air Resource Board exemption. So in states that have it, or cities that have some type of emissions control, you never have to worry about taking them off for smog check or whatever if they're strict. If you just worried about horsepower, they make great horsepower, and they can make more with a tune. I've done actually still in Gen 3s intakes, and still in catback exhaust. So in the morning we put on the dyno. It made 270 horsepower. It was a bone stock car. I believe it was a 370. I think it was a white one actually, but it was a bone stock car. Made a 270 wheel horsepower on the dyno jet, 248 two-wheel drive horsepower. You know, not fudging any numbers. Bolted on the catback exhaust. Bolted on the Gen 3 intakes. Drove it around a little bit. Got them, you know, the ECU a little acclimated to it. Put it on the dyno. Put the tune on it. Ran it, and then, you know, we kept modifying the tune until we got it just right, and we ended up making, without too much work actually, 320 rear wheel horsepower, which is a 50 horsepower gain. That was probably the most significant I've seen with just those three things. You know, catback exhaust, the long runner, the Gen 3 intakes, and engine calibration. So they can make more power if you do recalibration on it still. I just think that these have what it takes when you're talking about bolting something on, being trouble free, no drivability issues. I see people debating about it all the time. That's why I decided to make this video. It's just a great product, and it's a testament to R&D is what it is. A lot of people will reverse engineer stuff and they might miss something, or, you know, not do it exact, but this was done in-house and engineered just right. So if you're looking for something, I think the Gen 3 still in intakes is the way to go for power gains throughout your power band and reliability. Thank you. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below. If you'd like to hear anything else about these cars or anything else, also please leave in a comment below. If you like our videos and you want to see more, we do stuff on tools, we do stuff on our builds, so it's not just always commentary. We're actually doing real stuff in-house. So like us, subscribe to us, tell us what you think, and we'll talk to you next time we have something going on. Thank you. Talk to you then.